Kalon is the ancient Greek word for beauty, but unlike our word beauty, it also is a combination of spiritual and physical beauty. And so the three movements of my work, Kalon, explore different aspects of beauty. I started off thinking it would be a piece for two orchestras, and I couldn't make it work.
Yes, I mean, I do remember the conversations with Richard when he was talking about writing the piece and his idea of a double string orchestra with two conductors, and I've done several pieces with two orchestras and two conductors, or an ensemble with two conductors, and it can be quite cumbersome and time consuming to have extra complications in a process.
In the end, I decided I wanted to have one conductor but two groups, and it seemed to be the best way to do this, after a great deal of discussion with Martyn Brabbins also, was to have a string quartet which could be autonomous, keeping its own tempo, whereas the conductor keeps the tempo of the string orchestra. One of the things I tried to do was to keep simplifying both the material for the string quartet and for the string orchestra. And I did computer mock-ups and simulations, and all the time I just kept cutting material back, because in some of the pieces that I've heard with simultaneous tempi, it sounds actually a mess. Or the music is so atomized that you can't really tell that it's simultaneous tempi. So for me, the only way this was going to work is if you were very clearly locked onto the pulse of one group and the other group, and you actually can hear them working against each other or with each other. And I made a very important discovery early on, which is that if you take one of them away, in other words, insert 2 bars rest with one of them, the ear automatically goes to the other one, and you can play with that. Then you can silence that one and let the other one come through, so that by tasseting one group, the ear follows the other tempo.
At first you're completely at sea, because when the two things are going together, your brain really is struggling to know which one you should go with. And you're looking at a 3/4 bar followed by a 4/4 bar, but maybe you're hearing a 5/8 and a 6/8. So there are challenges of kind of rehearsing yourself to get used to the musical world, the musical language, and the musical sort of the jungle you've entered. And once you've done that, actually after a day or two of rehearsal, it's really very, very enjoyable.
The second movement, which I called Beklemmt, which is something that Beethoven wrote in the score, which meant anguished, where the first violin almost departs from the other three players, that this would be the narrative of this movement, which is a long movement, it's 10 minutes, and it is the fragile beauty of the string quartet clinging on to this wonderful music of Beethoven, which I quote twice in the course of the movement. And in that movement, the string orchestra becomes a number of things. It becomes barbaric, it overwhelms and interrupts, but also it's a fragile, flickering pulse, very ghostly, that accompanies the string quartet.
I think you'd need a couple of rehearsals to make this work, but it's not beyond any orchestra, certainly in this country and anywhere in the world.
I wanted it to be practical, and I wanted it to be performable, not on a vast amount of rehearsal, which has definitely been the case with BBC National Orchestra of Wales. After an hour and a half, they'd pretty much got the whole thing together. And my hope is that it can be performed with a large string orchestra or even a small string orchestra, and it's not so difficult to play that it can't be performed in a programme of, say, Vaughan Williams, Thomas Tallis, Fantasia, the Elgar Introduction and Allegro. And in some ways, I would love to think that it could take its place in a programme of British string music.
It's very exciting hearing this, the two tempi, and hearing how the two groups interact with each other. So it's a worthwhile piece for sure, and I hope it's taken up by orchestras here, there and everywhere.